Well, obviously I didn't edit out the end of this clip enough, but that's okay. Hey, Dad.
Hey, Julie.
Stop. There we are. There's Dad. Did you like the dramatic entrance?
I didn't see it.
Oh no, it was with the beep, beep, beep.
Oh, yes, I saw the beep.
Yeah.
I'm just testing our little links here to make sure
Yeah.
people are able to. Okay, so I go on Facebook and it's right there.
Perfect.
Join live. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I shared the space. I would love if anyone else would also love to share the space. Get some people on here. We had a lot of fun last week, so the more people we have, the more fun it is.
The more people we have, the more fun it is. I love it.
So, how are you doing today, Dad? Anything fun happening?
Well, Monday is usually a good day. Usually you get a little sale. So I had a sale today, so I'm feeling pretty good. We got paid on a sale.
Woo!
Julie was the inspiration, hint, hint, for a name that I sold on payments. And so one of the neat things that's happened in domain names in the last couple of years has been people being able to buy them on payments. So this domain name, that was Julie's idea. She showed me this word from her millennial super duper research engine.
Token Gen Z slang.
And so I got the .xyz. I bought inspo.xyz for $1.99. And then I listed it on the Dan platform, and I put it for $499. And I said that they could pay in 5 installments. So someone bought it, and they pay an installment, and I'm giving Julie a little share of the sale. So every time a payment comes in, it kind of reminds us that we had a sale, and Julie had a sale without even having to buy it.
I didn't have to do anything. That was just fun. Well, I had to be up on the lingo and up on the culture, but you'll have to deal with me. I'm having to eat some Greek yogurt. I was trying to have some queso, but if that's allowed to be said on your live stream, Dad, if I'm allowed to talk about cheese.
Sure.
I couldn't find it. I tried to look for it for 20 minutes. Those who don't know, Dad is not a cheese guy. So I'm honored to be allowed to talk about it. Wow. I was really excited. Couldn't find it. That was my queso humor for the day.
So I'm going to go to LinkedIn on my phone and see if if I go to the Freename platform on LinkedIn. So Freename is our sponsor of our show. So we go ahead and use their platforms each week. And just like a domain name can be powerful because it's a single place, for you to go. We expect to have MondayNightDomains.com launched by next week.
Amazing.
And so then, even though some people are watching us on Facebook, some people are watching us on LinkedIn, some people are watching us on YouTube, and some people are watching us on
X,
and then LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so if I go to the LinkedIn right now, it's literally live.
Oh. Can you see us?
Hold on. In Ghostbusters, they said don't cross streams, but
oh, is that how you create like a time portal or something? I think I know.
So, I'm hacked out because of the green screen. But anyway, if you can see
us occasionally.
Yeah, so it's actually it is right that if you go to the LinkedIn for Freename, then we're actually live right there on top of the LinkedIn.
Perfect.
And the same thing I think exists on.
It's on Facebook and Twitter as well. I think there's a little tiny bit of a lag, but
gotcha.
Should be live on all of your favorite platforms. So
this is Monday Night Domains. My name is Page Howe. I've been investing in domain names, 1997 carried through for 27 years. I'm a certified homer for domain names. I think that domain names are an incredible asset. I've had a lot of fun investing in domain names. I've made some money investing in domain names. I've lost some money investing in domain names. Domain names as an investment can sometimes magnify both the good and bad of your discipline and your personality and how you manage money. But there's no other asset like a domain name. We use comparisons like it's the internet, it's real estate online, or it's your digital identity. But really, and then I'll let Julie introduce herself. There's nothing like it in that there's never been an asset that's both functional with one domain name. In this case, you may be watching it on youtube.com. Google has built a $500 billion business with one connection to an internet that they don't pay for. They don't have to pay for phone lines. They don't have to pay for antenna. They don't have to pay for underground cable. They don't have to newspaper. They don't have to wrap the newspaper and deliver it to someone's doorstep. They don't have to have a radio antenna. Now, there's no doubt they spend a lot of money making sure that they're sending it out. But you can have a connection to the internet with a domain name functionally, and in that regard, it doesn't matter which one you use.
Right.
But here's the neat thing about domains. They're also your brand and your fashion and your identity and something that says something about you, like a sign or a business card or a brochure. And you put those things together, and then you have it where you don't have to store it, ship it, pay it overtime. A domain name works for you 24/7, 365. It's got a low fixed annual cost. In most cases, be careful for those high annual renewals. And that's why I love talking domains. And Monday Night Domains was a show I did on Clubhouse for a couple of years. And now it's back with Julie Howe.
Me. So
Introduce yourself.
I am, first of all, Page Howe's daughter. So I have been around domain names for my entire life. I owe everything that I am to domains because, they help my family. And so, but about last year, my dad sends me a message. He goes, Julie, I want to be on this project. It's about clothing, fashion, and design. And I know nothing about that. And I was like, hey, I'm your girl. So I kind of hopped into this great world of domains. There's no better person to learn from than my dad because of how enthusiastic he is. There is no one that really loves domains as much as my dad does. So he brought me in, and now I'm hooked. Look what you got me into. So that's how I got here. Let's see, what do I love about domains? I love that I can organize all my information and put it on the internet, and I can make it, if I want to make it purple, and I did make it purple, then I can make it purple because it's mine. And I love that, and I love that I can just have all my little words and all my little things, and I can build out my websites, and I can be creative online, and I can organize different parts of my business onto different websites. And so I like that.
Yeah, and it's been great for me because as a domain investor, the domain name industry, I believe, has lost the last two generations. If you were around in the first internet bubble, you remember, domain names are valuable. Someone sold one for a bunch of money. And your first thought is usually, people are going to go buy McDonald's.com or, HankAaron.com or a famous celebrity.com, and then they have to buy them from them. And that's just not really domaining. That's something else. But then what happened was the industry really hurt itself by making domain names complicated. You had to buy a domain name from a registrar. You had to set up your name servers. You had to set up your nick handle. You had to wait for something called propagation, or you could buy hosting, in which case you had to have an SSL. And the registrars wanted you to be confused so that they could sell you products that they said did it simply. But Julie, when you learn about these products, wouldn't you agree that you're kind of left on your own still to figure them out? And it's kind of like good luck when it comes to the next step, which is building a website.
I definitely, there got to about a 2-week period where every step forward that I took 14 steps back and was screaming and throwing computers across the room. But I got there, and it's definitely something that you have to just get used to, and you have to go into it with the mindset, like have your ice water, a snack, and a candle lit. Like you have to go into it with a calm mindset, and then let yourself get frustrated. When you get frustrated, you just have to slow down because that's kind of the fun, not the fun. That's the anti-fun of just technology in general, is it has a mind of its own. So sometimes you're going to have things that don't work the way they should, and that's just going to have to be okay. You write it down and you work around it. And it definitely taught me how to be very creative with the way I did things. I ended up, because I know 2 of the site builders I had, I was like, okay, I want this header. And they're like, no, you can't have it. And I'm like, but I want it. And so I ended up having to go through like Canva and then did that and then did this and then did that and then added like a button. And I ended up learning a lot along the way because of how much didn't work. But I also have learned that most people, when they realize their stuff doesn't work, they have been good about fixing it. So that's exciting. And it's a good part of domains that registrars, I think, are realizing that they've got to do some work. They're slowly realizing they've got to get the marketing. There's too many of them now. If they want to stay in business, they've got to keep working. And so I think the more that they learn that, the better it'll be for all of domains. Yeah. Especially with Web3 coming out, when you're going to have so much competition for any sort of domain where you don't have to have an ICANN domain.
And I think that that's a part of Web3. And we are going to cover Web3 tonight. Thank you to our sponsor, Freename. They sponsor Monday Night Domains, and we're able to do this on their platforms. And we're also able to provide a U.S.-based show in the evening time in the U.S., as Freename's a European company. They don't always cover the evening here in the U.S. So it's a chance for the Freename community to come together. Freename is a Web3 domain company, meaning that they are selling extensions that don't work on your phone right when you buy it. You get a phone or you get a computer, and the default app, or what's called the DNS, has only those domains that have been approved by this group, ICANN. But with Freename, you can get domains that aren't approved by ICANN. And ICANN has an approved domain, new domains, extensions to the right of the dot for 10 years. They say they're going to do it in 2 years. So there's a part of Web3 that, besides being blockchain-based, besides being decentralized, besides being, what is the third pillar? Decentralized, blockchain. I forgot the third pillar, but I added a fourth one, which is time. People don't like barriers, and people don't like time barriers. And when you think about domains, getting a TLD, right now it's wait 2 years and pay $300,000 or more. And you say, well, you can get one now on Freename, but it doesn't work everywhere. But you can download an app, an extension with Freename, and all your customers can see it. And as long as you have to do your marketing yourself, one of the reasons I own some TLDs on Freename like .v is, with so many extensions out there right now, you have to do your marketing anyway. So asking someone to download a plugin works. So Julie, you got .girlypop.
I got .girlypop.
And I've got .v, and I've got .homepage and .homepages. So one of the things about it is speed. Now, instead of being like, we're going to talk about my sales today, like I sold a name today, and the buyer paid Friday, and then the sale was pending, and then it got approved today or Sunday, and then they said that it's closed now and they'll pay me tomorrow. And that's pretty good compared to what it used to be. It used to be you had to go through escrow. So Julie, just like when you buy a house and you put your money in escrow and the seller puts their deed in escrow, and then they wait to get the termite inspections and everything. We used to have the same thing with domain names, because the buyer could pay you for the name, but then it would take you a little while to give it to them. So they're like, hey, Julie, I don't want to pay you for the name unless I'm going to get it right away.
Right.
And then the seller would be like, well, I don't want to transfer you the name unless I know I'm going to get my money in good, clean funds. You know, you can't charge it back, can't call your bank and say, oh, someone stole my ATM card. So there was a lot of uncertainty there. And I think one of the things that we're going to see Web3 doing is allowing domain names to be traded what's called atomic, meaning it's instantaneous. My money goes from my wallet from the buyer's wallet to my wallet, and the representative ownership of the name goes from my wallet to their wallet, done and dusted, irreversible, irrevocable, instantly. Yeah. And I think that appeal is a lot of the products and services you see out there. And so that's one of the reasons that we do like covering Web3, is whether you like it or not, it's going to drive, I think, a lot of the changes against the way things have been done. And the reason I think they need to change is, I told Julie when we first started working together, don't take what I say as the truth. If you don't think it makes sense, or if you don't like it, tell me. Because the reason social media has grown so much is it was easy. Open up a Facebook account. I want to be Julie. You can't be Julie. You're Julie1942. Okay, fine. I'll take it. Boom. I'm posting a minute later.
Right.
And versus creating a website, that was really easy. And so it's no wonder that it's grown. and 2 generations of people don't know they need domain names. But here's where I'll talk while Juicy's eating to the influencers out there. You know, I think lately I've seen some of the stats on YouTube where for every million views or something like that, you make $40. And at the same point, you're having to compete with everyone else. But it's great if you just want to like, man, I got users, I got viewers. But if you have them and you think about what the power of owning a domain name is to bring them to your own party, to your own production, where you can capture their email address, you control the experience entirely. You don't have competitive companies next to you. You don't have, like on YouTube, the next 10 videos that cover the same subject as you. And if you think about people like Howard Stern or Oprah Winfrey, they made their billions when they moved off the big networks. They moved on to smaller places, but they own their space. So for you influencers out there, I want you to think about that a domain name as being something you can give out once forever. I've been able to give out pagehowe.com for 25 years. And anyone I've met in the last 25 years, I've said you can find out what I'm doing on pagehowe.com. I didn't have to switch between AOL, Pathfinder, I forgot
Instagram.
what the original network.
Oh,
even
MySpace.
Instagram, there was someone
MySpace.
tell me in the chat, the one that did the music and everything, and you could
MySpace.
make the name. MySpace, there we go. Yeah, MySpace and all that stuff. I could have just stayed with pagehowe.com. And then whatever one's the flavor of the month, you can put your link on your website. So that's kind of one of the reasons we think websites are important. And Julie's helping me communicate that to the younger generations. And so anyway, go ahead.
Well, I think you made a great point that I hadn't even thought of with gathering emails, because, you know, getting data is so valuable now, and people kind of forget it. But now that we're kind of getting where a lot of people are doing side hustles and freelance work, people are realizing that data and information and being able to have an email list to sales funnel is a very important thing. And so if I have you go to my website, even if you don't have to put in your email to see my site, if that's the first thing you see and you're able to see, oh, 10% off, whatever, give me an email, I automatically could create a customer for life from you. And that isn't really the same with social media, because if you don't have a private account, which most of the time if you're doing this for business or for influencing, you're not going to have a private account. So people can just go to your profile and you don't know. Like, you don't know, because I know with my Wix site, I know when someone visits my site, I know which page they're on, I know which page they clicked off of. And that is a lot of information to me. With social media, if you buy certain plans, you can know who looked at your profile. That's it. Like, you don't get the data from that. And there is no direct, like, here, give me your information so I can have you as a customer for life. You may follow me. I may see that notification. But you can't set up automations like that where, like, I have on my Wix site, okay, you see 50% off my website if you give me your email. Automatically, it sent a 50% off coupon and then a welcome email saying what I'm about. Yeah. Anyways, that was awesome.
There's some great technology out there to help you. One of the things I'm doing with my .newsletter is going to be, there's something called a PWA, a progressive web app. And what that means is you can have an app on your website, if you own the domain, that acts, you don't need the app store to distribute your app. You don't have to pay and get it approved by Google, approved by Apple. Whenever you want to make a change, you have to get it approved. You can distribute an app directly from your website. And the reason that's important is I think notifications have lost a little of their power. When you think about Twitter, how many possible people you could get notifications from, and sometimes your default is just to turn notifications off.
Or just mentally ignore them.
But you may say on your newsletter, hey, join the newsletter, click notifications on, because you can tell them, I only send this out on Friday afternoons. You know what I mean? And that's the only notification. And you can start building that trust relationship, because you don't have the baggage of the social media network that's also trying to algorithm them into other things, is trying to get them to do other things. You control that experience. And I think, what I think is going to happen in the next 20 years is we're really going to see a rise in what I call love marketing or trust marketing. meaning the one thing everyone knew about marketing was fear and greed. You either got to go for fear or greed. And I think people are so conditioned now around that now trust marketing says, I'm going to give you some information for free.
Yeah.
And you're used to having to pay for it with your time or your email or something. And I'm going to start building that relationship. But it's hard on the social media networks because they have to get paid. They have to make money off you. So I think you control your experience. So that's one of the things I think is the power of a domain name is it stays with you forever as long as you pay the renewals. So then it comes down to, well, what domain do I get? And this is where the industry, I think, has failed again, because there are literally 1,600 different, what's called top level domains. Now, we all know .com, and that's the best one, and I think will always be the best one because we're all used to it. I just said, Julie, go to pagehowe.com. You don't have to say, what did you say at the end there? You know I said .com, right?
Yeah.
And if my company was named Joe Domains, you would probably assume I was probably joedomains.com. But then we had .net and .org from the very beginning. And it used to be at the beginning, people got their .net and .org. They wanted all of them. They didn't want anyone else to get them. Then we added about 10 or 20 more like info and biz. And then 10 years ago, we added a huge number of them. Like .online is a popular one, .shop, .club is a popular one, .xyz is a real popular one. But then you've also got ones like .horse used to be the one that people used to joke about. Did you even know there was a .horse? And then last week we talked about, did you even know there was a
rodeo? Oh my
rodeo. Word. And so
you get too excited about names, Con.
Anyway, so that's what you have to decide is what extension you're going to be in. And what you don't know is they all have different rules. Sometimes you'll go by a name like julie.xyz and it'll say it's available, but it's $1,000 a year. And you're like, what? .coms are only $20 a year. And then sometimes you'll see a name like a .rodeo, to use an example, that says it's $400 the first year, but then it's only $10 a year.
Oh, I didn't know.
Low. So it could be a combination of them. Then you're going to see names that are owned by other people. Just like on the MLS for houses, you see houses that are owned by other people. So say I own, the name I sold today was knightslanding.com. Knightslanding.com, and I sold it for $3,500. And someone typed in through the different registrars, Knights Landing, and it said this name's available for $3,500. So along with names that aren't taken that you can buy for $15, they're in .com. There's other extensions like net and org. Then there's all these other extensions like shop and online and XYZ. Then there's names that are already owned by other people, and they put all that together in one website and say, good luck.
Woo!
And I think that because you can only buy a domain name through a registrar, and they're basically showing you, kind of like when you go to Expedia and it says this hotel has paid to be at the top of the list. You know what I mean? Like you're going to Austin and we're not going to show you the best. We're not going to show you the highest rating. We're going to show you our sponsor pick. Well, these other top level domains,
Google now too.
Yeah, they may be paying to be shown, but it doesn't mean they're the best alternative. So I think there's a lot of confusion out there. One of the things we're going to hope to do on Monday Night Domains here over the next months and years, maybe even, is talk about what to get, what to buy, and at least explain the existing domain market. And that may help you understand this Web3 domain market that we're talking about that's got some exciting parts to it.
Yeah.
Phew, that's a lot, Julie. What do you think about it?
That's a lot of information to go over. I'm trying to think of like where we should probably break it down because we do try and keep the show for all experience levels, you know. I guess.
And we also are going to do appraisals tonight.
Oh, yay! Awesome.
So at 7:30, go ahead and put just one name per person in the chat or the feedback, and I'll tell you, either Julie and I'll tell you what we think about it, and we'll give you a rough value. Please do not consider this an offer to buy it. Don't consider it its value. Do your own research, mind your own bag. But if you want, we'll talk about one of your domains if you put them up there. And Let's see. We've got some questions. Julie, I'll let you handle the questions, but I cut you off. What were you saying?
Oh, I was going to ask a question just to keep everything, very beginner. Not every domain is listed on every registrar, correct?
Not every domain is listed on every registrar. That's correct.
So if you really want a domain and it do you type it into the search bar and hope the landing page takes you to where it's selling? Like what goes on there?
Well, you kind of have to hope that the person the company that owns the TLD has a deal with the company, the registrar that you're shopping at.
Right.
And you'd think that they would all have deals with everybody, and they're supposed to. But sometimes they don't get along, or they don't agree, or they haven't been able to come to terms. Or one side says, I don't want to list yours. And someone says, well, we don't be listed on your place anyway. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so, and there is a list of all the domains that are available, but good luck for the average person to find it. You know what I mean? And what are you going to do? Are you going to scroll through of the top ones that have more than, say, 100 registrations? There's probably 800. Are you going to scroll through, .drama, .fashion, .design, .horse, .rodeo, .tennis, .this, .that, .this, .that? It's just too much information to consume. So sometimes, what's that?
Even with privately held names, you have all your 10,000 domain names. I'm assuming they're not listed for sale everywhere.
Well, this is where we have a monopoly in the business. GoDaddy owns a company called Afternic. Right. And they provide an intermediary that has these names where registrars can sell names that domainers own. So if I take 100 of my domain names that I bought and I own, I can list them on this site called Afternic, and all the companies out there like Namecheap and Network Solutions and Alibaba in China, if someone types in my exact name, it'll say it's for sale. Kind of like being on the MLS for a real estate.
Right.
But you have to pay attention to the specific terms, and they don't sell all TLDs, but that's a primary way that most domain investors sell their names. Sato is another company that operates a similar service. Okay. And so you can buy the names, and then you can list them for sale, and you can hope that someone else out there walks into, if it were like a car business, they walk into their local car dealer, and that local car dealer has a list of all 20 million domains that Afternic has for sale, including yours. And
but that person still listed on Afternic for that to happen, or Sato. Yeah. Interesting.
So most likely that's where you'll want to list them. But there's really no pressure on Afternic to get better because they bought out their biggest competitor. There's no pressure on GoDaddy to really get better. There's no pressure on a lot of the registrars to get better because they have a monopoly. You have to buy them through there. It's kind of like the DMV. The DMV doesn't have to advertise. You have to get your license plates there. You have to get your driver's license there.
Even when it takes 14 hours. Uh-huh.
Right. So they want now, if the DMV sold T-shirts, then they would advertise for you to come in so they can sell you your license and T-shirts or something. And so that's what the registrars are doing. They're trying to use the fact that you want a domain name to say, we're going to sell you hosting, we're going to sell you everything.
Right.
And we're going to have a special announcement probably in the middle of June about how to save you 90% on your current website builder and website. So be ready for that. 90% off what you're currently paying for your website builder and your website. But
that's going to be amazing because I pay a lot. Okay, let's do questions because we don't have anyone submitting their names for appraisals yet. So we got a few questions if you don't care.
Okay.
First of all, congratulations, More Than SEO. Woke up this weekend and received 2 random SLD sales on a category-themed, non-branded TLD. How would you use these unexpected sales to attract more SLD buyers? I don't know the buyers in any way.
Gotcha. So More Than SNO has been a great attendee, and he's got, I can't tell if this is on one of his Web 2 or his Web 3 TLDs, so I'm going to stall a little bit. Random SLD, what he's saying is second level domain. Top level domain is the thing to the right of the dot, .com, .net, and Web3, .v, .homepage, .girlypop. SLD is what is the string of words to the left of the dot. And together they make up pagehowe.com. Page Howe is the SLD.com is the TLD. You can't, in the ICANN system, you have to be an accredited company. Every 10 years or so, they give out these TLDs, cost $300,000. You may have to pay as much as $10 million at auction if someone else wants yours. Like say you wanted .toy and someone else wanted .toy. They'd say, great, you guys bid it out. And you say, first you have to pay the $300,000. And then you say, well, I'll pay another 100. Well, I'll pay another 150. I'll pay another 200. Now in Web3, again, we mentioned full disclosure that they don't work right now on most devices out of the box. You have to download an app. But the reason that's not it's a big barrier for me compared to the Ultimate, but it's not compared to the fact that if you look at video streaming, everyone who watches Netflix, they wanted to watch Netflix, and that is not on their cable box. And it's not on their phone, and it's not on their TV antenna. They had to download an app to be able to see the special content on Netflix. And I think if you think about Web3 in those terms, that it's a place to put compelling content on a domain that may not be available from ICANN and have it be a little bit special, a little bit unique. And you can own a top-level domain on the Freename platform. Freename doesn't own it. You own it. And they run the platform, and you split the royalties that you make from selling second-level domains. So let's see if More Than SEO told us what he did here. No. So I'm going to let's see.
No, he did not tell us.
All right, so I can't. I'm going to table that for a second. See if he tells. What I'm asking him is, like, he may own a Freename TLD. He may own like Julie owns .girlypop, and what he may be saying is, hey, I sold music.girlypop for $50 this weekend, so he would have got half of that revenue. What should he do with it? Or he might be saying that he had an SLD and something like .rodeo, which I mentioned last week, and he sold a couple .rodeos, and he's like, what should I do with this money? So that was.
I think he's just saying like how would he use that to attract more buyers, and I would say it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where now he has a one-time customer. He has, in theory, some sort of information. Use that and just be a loyal and good owner.
Yeah. So, Julie, why don't you talk about this one? Why don't you talk about community and engaging the people that take a leap of faith to buy a domain name in a TLD that you like? And if you want to use that money, this unexpected sale, to attract more buyers, what are some of the things we've learned about amplifying community?
So one of the things that we've really learned is how important it is to just get that one buyer, get that one person that believes in you enough and buys a domain, and then you put your heart and your soul into them. For example, I actually had a coworker buy a .cfd name. It was just a hand reg fee, and immediately we're like, okay, we're putting that on our Instagram stories. Like, I'm following you, let me know. Like, and I made that connection. I wish there was a better way to see who the buyers are, so you can actually make a one-on-one connection and get like a welcome email. Because in reality, none of us own .com unless there's someone in here that I don't know about. We do not own .com. And so whatever TLD we are trying to better is not going to be better than .com. So you have to offer something different. And that's what we've done with .cfd, is offer something that, you know, you don't have the joy of saying, yes, I'm giving you the domain that the TLD, everyone knows it and everyone uses it. But you can say, but what we are going to do is, because .com doesn't have to do anything, they don't have to market, they don't have to advertise. So what we're doing with .cfd is we're building a community. We're saying this is the purpose of this TLD. And because you trusted in us to buy from us, we're going to amplify you. How can I help you? I've reached out to a bunch of people. Hey, if you get a CFD domain, I'll build your website. And they're like, oh, how much is the cost of the website? No, I will build your website. Immediately you're getting followed from me. Immediately you're going in the magazine. Immediately you're going on my Instagram. Like, I automatically, and it has to be genuine. Like, you have to just understand that they have trusted in you. So you have to put a heart in their business, even if you can't financially support them. But depending on the SLD, you might be able to. Like, okay, if they paid $100 for an SLD and they sell bracelets, buy a $6 bracelet. Just do it. Like, reinvest back into your customers and make a long time customer. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that they're going to appreciate that. And over time, you'll have a community that supports each other, where someone starts a new brand. And one of the things about the CFD space is that there's a lot of single words like horizon or rainbow or pink.cfd that you can buy. Some of them are premium, some of them are regular, but there's a lot of single words you can get. So you don't have to, if your company is going to be, like Julie Jules, or if it's going to be, Crypto Girl or something, you can't get cryptogirl.com. It maybe costs $50,000, but you can be cryptogirl.cfd, and you can at least say Crypto Girl, Crypto Girl, Crypto Girl, without having to say I'm Crypto Girl Clothing or I'm Crypto Girl, 4621. And so that's the benefit. And so what we want to do is then other CFD people like and follow your new designs when you launch them and your new catalog and stuff like that. So More Than SEO says these were SLDs on a Freename. So what that means is he owns a Freename TLD. We'll just call it, say it was mine.homepage, and someone buys, Reggie.homepage, and someone buys Backyard Pools. Someone said they like my pool.homepage. So what you can do is we don't have this yet, but it's coming, something called Ethermail, where you can send mail to their wallet. Now, a lot of people know you have to set the settings on your email to receive it, but there may come a time where you can send them to their wallet like a little NFT that says, thank you for buying on .homepage. You know what I mean? And it can say homepage founder. So you can send them stuff to their wallet address. The second thing you can do is watch to see if they set up a link for that. Because if you have the Freename extension and you type in the name that they bought, they as the owner, they can forward their name, their Freename domain name in Web3. They can forward that to a Web2 site, like their LinkedIn profile or their company page, or they can make a new web page in Web3. And so you can keep an eye out, like once every 2 weeks, look at your holders of your SLD holders and go through and just see if anyone's got a site. And then do what Julie talked about, engage with them. And then the last thing is you can put on your site, most of the TLD owners in Freename, like for v.v, I have vdomains.io. So that is a website that everybody can see. And if I wanted to, I can put a little ticker on the top, just registered, this, and this. Yeah. And then if someone build a website, I can say, let's see what's going on in .v. So I think there are ways to do it that way. So that's what I think.
Go ahead. I was going to say, like, when you think about the kinds of people that are buying domain names, they're people that are starting up their brands or companies. Once they buy one domain, that is the hardest part. To get them to buy a domain, you have to get them to set up an account, load in a card, and buy into the idea of having their brand. And once they've done it, or to domain investing, depends on whatever purpose. And once they've done it once, they might need more. Even if they just want to buy domains for the backlinks for SEO, they might need more domains. And if you've shown them a good experience, there is no reason, especially with Freename TLDs, when you can do very low prices, there is no reason they wouldn't come back. And in theory, they would build a community and they'd send other people back to you. I think it's all just about being genuine and actually giving a crap about who you're selling to.
And the reason we talk about Web3 here, because the current domain market, especially to a large group of people that don't know that some domains resolve and some domains don't. Most people don't know that some domains exist and some domains don't. They think it's like emoji. I can create an emoji out of anything. They don't know that there's a certain approved list of emojis that are on every phone. You know what I mean? They just think you can create, I downloaded these GIFs that were emojis. And so there's a lot of things people don't know. And what they're buying is a digital identity or a digital collectible that they feel good about at the time they buy it. And even in Web3, where it may not be fully resolving like a Web2 domain, what the Web2 people don't understand is there's 150 million .com domain names out there. Those people buying the bottom 50 million are not always going to be putting websites on there. They're the same type of hoper, speculator. I just have this idea, it may come true. But they're having to buy these really long names and hope that they turn into something. And maybe Web3 people are buying shorter names and hope they turn into something. They both have challenges. They both have barriers. But I just think that people are buying an emotional connection to this is mine, right, Julie? When you buy a domain name, it is yours. It is not. No one can take it away from you. You can pick on it. You can say it's not good, but it's mine. And in Web3, you don't have renewals on Freename TLDs, so it's mine forever. So you can tell me it's terrible, but I'm never gonna have to pay any more money for it. So I can stick around to see if things work out or if they don't. But it's mine. It's mine. And that's what people are buying.
All right. We got more questions.
All right.
So let me make sure that I'm not missing one, and I'm not.
We got a little appraisal there. I love domain.your and I love domain.level. So this person is talking about Freename TLDs.your and .level. And he says, I have I love domain.your and I love domain.level. So I think these would be good home pages if you owned .your and .level. You know what I mean? Hey, to find out more about what's going on, download the Freename extension, type in your browser, I love domain.your, and you will see a website. You know what I mean? You'll be like, wow, I'm seeing a website just from downloading this little app. And I don't download apps every day. So I think that's the best purpose of them. I don't think they have a lot of resale value at all, but I think to be the main promotional domain for a .your and .level, I think that's where the value would be.
Yeah. And I think this is iHeartDomains. I think you said that earlier in the chat. Okay.
No, actually, this is us. This is Ed. I think he has
I know, but you said it earlier.
Okay. All right. We've got a question about 1&1 and Ionos.
Oh, yes. Web 2 domain selling question. I have domains on the old 1&1 Ionos, which allow to be sold on Cedo Marketplace, but I have no luck there versus Afternic/GoDaddy. Any suggestions to boost Cedo sales?
Well, for one, you can put them on both. You can put them on Cedo and you can put them on Afternic. And just like, you can go to McDonald's or Burger King, Afternic has a lot of registrars that it works with, and Cedo has a lot of registrars it works with. And then if a registrar has both, they may list the lowest price or the highest price, or they may pick one or the other. So I think being on both makes sense. If you're trying to sell a name when you're really just hoping someone wakes up this morning and wants to buy it, that's really how you make money in domaining. The way you make money in domaining, listen up everybody, is you buy a name when it happens to be for sale, but nobody specifically wants it. So you don't have to pay a lot of money. It's like you're shopping at a yard sale, or it's like you're shopping at a closeout bin, or it's like a store just opened up and they said everything in the store is $8. And you go in and you're like, I don't need that now, but I'm going to buy it. So you buy domains at low prices because when you buy them, the only reason they were available is no one else wanted them right now, or no one else knew about them. Then you hold the domain over time till a time when someone does wake up and say, I just started a company. I want to start a business. I want this name. And it's so important for me to have that name that even though they want to buy it from you for $100, you have to say no. That's the only way to find out if they'll pay $500 or $1,000 or $2,000. Or they may have said, this is the most important thing in my life is to have this domain name for my company. And so one way to sell names is to not put prices on them. Let people inquire, say how much. You could just not respond if you want. One of the most successful sellers in the world, Rick Schwartz, he doesn't even deal with people until you pester him 2 or 3 times. Because he's like, if you really want it, you'll come back. You know what I mean? Now, a lot of us like me that have a lot of domains, I need to sell domains this week. Yeah. So I do put prices on them because I want someone to go, hey, I want to buy NashvilleNewspaper.com. Oh, it's probably taken. I don't want to buy it. I want them to see, oh, Nashville newspaper, $2,000, and I can pay it $199 a month for 10 months. I want to show my price. But that's how you make money in domaining, is you buy it for a lower price when no one else wants it and no one specifically wants it, and you wait till someone wants it. So in this case, back to this question, the only thing you can maybe do at Cedo is you can download your list of names, just lower the price on them all $50. or raise the price on them all $100. And if there's anyone at Saydo that happens to have clicked the like button or the watch button about your domain name, they're going to get an email that says the price of this domain name has just changed. And for all you know, they may have hit the like button because during COVID, they didn't have the money to buy it. You know what I mean? Or something happened where their company wanted them to buy it, but now they're like, wait, I do want to find out. So sometimes it's like, sloshing water around in a bucket. You're just moving things around to see if someone's watching out for the name. You may change the name servers from Saydo to Afternick and see if someone's watching, and they may go, oh, wow, I wonder if a new person owns this name. Maybe I could consider buy it. So that's the only advice I can give you besides outbounding.
That was my question, was what Dad you would talk about.
I think what he's talking about is what can I do just in bulk on the marketplaces? And sometimes you just want to kind of mix things up. Maybe change all your prices from having a 7 to having a 9. Maybe change your minimum offer. Maybe change them all to make offer. And just do something to mix it up in case someone out there is watching. So that's my best advice.
All righty. Yeah, I like that Saydo idea as well, just in case anyone has it on their watch list. Okay. Is this a question? I see a question. Casey?
Let's see. It says, I like Unstoppable, working for their TLDs, right? Like .pudgy, to be recognized on Web 2. Do Freename have such a plan for .metaverse? Because I'm not going to speak for Freename in this regard because I do publicity and education, but I don't make their corporate decisions. It's probably on the roadmap to be in consideration for it. But I think that right now you get to own a .metaverse now, and you get to do something with it for at least 2 years and then see how the chips fall. I think that some people are promising that they're going to get the ICANN one down the road, but that's 2 years from now. And there's a chance ICANN may never give them out. All they're doing now, just to give you an idea of the bureaucratic process, is they're having different meeting groups in this body like ICANN, picture the United Nations, and they have different committees. And they came up with 120 things they have to decide before they even send out the application for people to get these new TLDs. And they said 80 of them are easy to figure out, and there's 40 that are tough to figure out. So they approved going ahead with the process, and they just kicked the 40 tough decisions down the line. And they said, we'll decide those over the next 2 years. So they have some really tough decisions to decide on. Then they have to have a public comment period. Then they have to publicize it. Then there may be legal challenges. There may be things. So it's a process. So they're saying they think it should come out in 2026 where you apply for them. And then after you apply for them, you have to get approved. Then after you get approved, you have to be delegated. Then after you delegate, you have to launch, and you have to give trademark holders first place in line, and then they'll come out. So there's a lot that can happen in 2 years. So I think .metaverse, they'll keep you in touch with you, or it'd be a good question to ask on the Telegram channel for Freename, and they may have a better answer there.
Okay. And then we got one thing, not necessarily a question, but I think it'll be fun to comment on because I think this guy is in the same place as a lot of people are. And especially, I don't know if this is his first time buying domains, but, if it is, what kind of thought process do you go through, Dad, when you have names in the cart you want, you're like, oh, these could be it. But that totals, whenever you go through an Amazon order and you sometimes put 14 dresses in there when you can really only afford 5, how do you weed these out?
Yeah, or you're at Costco, which is one of our bulk stores, where you go through and you're like, I need 10 pounds of pickles. I need a compressor. I need an extinguisher. I need 18 smoke alarms. And I've gotten to the end and looked in my cart and said, do I really need any of this? And walked right out of the store.
I cannot relate because Target has a hold on me. And if I put it in the cart, it takes so much of my heart to just take one thing out there.
But what I'll say about domains is...
this is his first time to buy Web3 domains. So he's talking
Yeah,
Web3.
I think you're going to be better off doing your research. Be comfortable with what you're buying. One, there's no refunds, but two, you're going to be better off. There's always a recency bias. What that means is from the time you think about something, it's immediately awesome, and all you think of is the benefits. And maybe it's okay, maybe Freename doesn't want me saying this, to wait 6 hours, unless you think it's like a word that got invented this morning. Like if Elon Musk woke up and said, hey, I've just discovered a new planet called Xeno. You know what I mean? And yeah, you may want to jump on some Xeno domains. I don't know. If it's not something like that, look at that. You need a fire extinguisher. It's warm out here in the shop. But I think that most of the time, as time goes on, you'll feel less and less attractive to a maybe domain. And what you want to do is you want to have another name replace it in the cart. Like say I was looking for Freename TLDs, because remember, Freename lets you buy not just a domain name, something, but also a TLD. And so I may say, you know what, I want to get something in the art space. And Julie, I was with my mom, we were out in Franklin, and we learned about this type of art called plenar art.
Never heard of it.
It means nature. It means nature somehow. Maybe I've got. So as a domainer, I think, okay, maybe I want to have .plenar or .plena. But if I bought it right away, I wouldn't do that extra research to say, wait, is it a French word? Do I want the English spelling? Do I want, what tense of the word do I want? Do I want the singular or the plural? So I think it's okay to leave them in your cart, think about them, and do it. Now, most people will have to address the, do I even want to buy a Web3 TLD? And I answer it this way. Web3 TLDs are not like Web2 TLDs. You're never going to be able to say they're better or worse. You just aren't. If you say, I want the one that resolves, Web2. I want the one that I can get in my favorite word, Web3. I want the one that can be a wallet address, Web3. I want the one that can be email address, Web2. That's why you're seeing so many companies like Freename's related company, Web United, make it so that you'll be able to go into your registrar and click, take my Web2 name and make it Web3. Like they announced a partnership with .ws where they're going to be able to do that. And so there's other Web3 companies that are trying to make them like Web2. So the way I look at it is in Web3, you're buying a speculative asset with no renewals, that if you buy the TLD, you're going to be able to earn income. And instead of paying GoDaddy and paying Namecheap and paying someone, build your own community and get people to buy domains in your TLD, you keep the money. And I just think that's really different than I'm a painter in Nashville and I want to have a business that everyone in Nashville can see. So I'm going to get a Web2 domain name, NashvillePainters.com. So I don't think you can ever compare them both. You just simply say, do I want to do one or do I want to do another? And that's why when I'm on a lot of spaces, I usually say, hey, this is a Web3 space. We're not talking about whether to buy Web3 or not. We're talking about what are the different factors in buying Web3 that are important, And then if it is a general space like what we're talking about here, maybe we can talk about Web2 versus Web3. So that's my answer. It's okay to keep it in the cart. It's okay to think about it, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I think one thing when buying a Web3 TLD that's going to be really important to think about is there's not renewals. So everyone that has bought one already, they're not giving it up. It's never going to leave. It's never going to expire. Anything like that, they're going to have it. So as Web3 does start to grow, there's going to be things that aren't just not available for a good price. They're not available. You can no longer get .house. Like they're not available. So it's kind of hop on the trend now or never, because at some point there's going to be a time where there's no phonetic words left in Web3 to have.
Okay, RF was worried about I was getting too hot. There you go. I got my little.
You got your van.
I don't have the little plug-in, so I'm just going to have to do manually. Okay.
Does it not plug into your phone?
Blow myself off. It does, but it's one of those Apple. It's one of those Apple phones.
Oh, hey, you can mail it right up to your daughter who has an Apple phone. I used
Gotcha.
to have those for festivals. I'd walk around. It's great.
But the other thing you want to learn about Web3, and I think this applies to the fact that every year 200,000 names expire every day because people bought them and they don't want them anymore. And half of those names, almost 100,000 a day, almost 40 million a year, people bought last year. And they don't even want to pay another renewal. So when you think about why people buy domains, sometimes it's just to say they have them. And Julie, no matter what happens to
Really pop.
.girly pop,
That was the coolest thing I ever felt in my
who
life.
owns .girly pop?
Me.
That's right. It's like Bartertown. Who owns Bartertown? That's old Mad Max. You own .girly pop.
Yeah.
No one can take that away from you. You own it, and you still get the joy and the smile from saying I own .girly pop.
And I'm never letting it go.
And it's $79 with the 25% off coupon, whatever, for $53. That's digital fashion that you can say you own. And I don't think the Web 2 world understands that that's why people are buying digital collectibles. They're like, well, you can't build a website on it or something like that. Not everyone wants to build a website on it. Sometimes you just want to have one. You just want to have it.
I'm a big sucker to the I just want to have something, so I buy it.
And then now that she has .girly pop, other people may
Mary
want to
royalties.
Julie .girly pop and pay $17 for it, and she gets half, and then she can take that money and spend it developing a plan for .girly pop. And that's what the existing guys aren't doing. You know, I bought some names. I joked last week, I bought a .rodeo domain name, NFT.rodeo. .rodeo isn't spending any money building out .rodeo. They say they are, but they're just hoping the registrars sell it. You know what I mean? So it's not like they're doing anything. In fact, if .rodeo didn't exist and I bought it on Freename, I could probably build a bigger .rodeo without it resolving over the next year than they are going to have with their .rodeo that resolves.
I think you've got to teach line dancing on .rodeo.
There we go.
All right, we got one more question. I think we're about out of time for the night. Okay. More Than SEO says, does Freename plan to integrate into the kinds of apps like Unstoppable's marketplace? Categories include DAO, DeFi, gaming, metaverse, messaging, education, decentralized social media, etc.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of marketplaces in the future. As to who integrates with who, we'll have to see. And I think different platforms may integrate some, but may not integrate all. Just like a company, you know, on Amazon, they have everything. But if you had a mini Amazon store for just like we have shop.cfd, we're probably not going to have every product on Amazon. We're going to have fashion products and clothing fashion and design products. So I think you'll have different marketplaces, and I think you will have categorization. So in that sense, yes. And I think if anyone thinks there's going to be one, see the thing, I'll finish with this. Web 2 domains are used to only operating with monopolies, which means you're given a top-level domain, or registrars are given the right to sell domains, and so they don't have to work that hard because they have a monopoly. In Web 3, a lot of companies can start up, and that means they have to compete. They can't just say, we exist, so you have to buy from us. They have to actually meet the needs of their customers. And
that is my favorite part of Web 3.
And those companies that continue to meet the needs of their customers, and those TLDs that build a good community, they will exist irrespective of the technology that they're using, because the community likes it. The community can download plugins and they can grow. And whether every browser accepts Freename, or whether we don't even use browsers in the future, we use like Noto, Freename's product that changes your DNS. The only thing I think we can predict is things are going to change. And I just think Web 3 is going to be more reactive to that change. Web 2 loves the way things are. Their only defense against Web 3 is it shouldn't be allowed to exist. So I think Web 3 will be more adaptive. But I'm still a Web 2 guy. I still have 99% of my money invested in Web 2 domains. It pays the bills. Right now, we're coming to you on Restream.io, which is a Web 2 domain name that everyone can see without having to download a plugin. So there's no doubt that we're going to go where the action is. We're going to go where the money is. But, you know, I like it. Keeps me young. It keeps me up to change. So, all right, Julie, take us home.
All right, guys. Well, it was such a pleasure chatting with everybody tonight. We've had 2 great lives in a row. So I'm looking forward to seeing everyone next week, same time, same place, or a different place. We have 5 streaming services. Go for it. So have